Holy cow! Coming to you live finally from Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's August the 15th, 2025. We've got Bill. Bill made it. Bill Hunter is in the house. We just had to, his wife came to the rescue. We'll have to have her pop in and show us herself and wave at the camera here in a little bit. But hey, it's good to be here. Thank you all to the loyal following of those that hung out and are here with us, that stuck it out. And we just had some difficulties. And I'll tell you what, I don't really know what to tell you. Bill's old, I'm old, but it's not even really, I don't know what it was. It was kind of the technical things that happens, and we get that cloud that sometimes hits us. And, but I don't know, but it is what it is. It's good to be here. It's Friday night. I love Friday nights. I love guests like we're going to have tonight, because this is actually I think it's Bill's second podcast to be on. And what I really love about this is the fact that Bill is one of those cops that, he still works in the industry as I do, and neither one of us want to end up in adult timeout. So we have to, we're going to behave ourselves tonight. But the thing about Bill is he's one of those cops that actually has been there and done it. And actually is somebody that has proven himself out there, and he is a very well-respected police officer with the Philadelphia Police Department. Philadelphia Police, the city is the sixth largest in the country. I think they have over 6,000 officers, and Bill came highly recommended to me from another podcast that I happen to be a guest on, and it's the Sit Down with Jeff Nadeau. I'm going to recommend that also. Jeff does a podcast that's basically a lot of mafia stuff. He talks to, actually, he had Sammy the Bull Gravano on, and he goes, "Hey, listen, there's one person that I would recommend for you, and that's Bill Hunter. He's one of the most well-respected Philadelphia cops out there, and this guy grew up in South Philly, and how he knows him, I don't know, but he knows of him. And that's pretty impressive. So there's the Sit Down with Jeff Nadeau. I highly recommend it. This guy's got a following of like 100,000 people. And he was a lot of fun to be on his podcast. So I'm going to recommend him a little bit. Anyway, let's get to it. I don't want to waste anybody's time, but this is going to be episode number 62. Who would have thought we'd still be here after 62? And thankfully I've got fans that will tune into this each and every week. Basically, he's a true legend, really, and I'm glad to have him on. I was really shocked that he was able to come on. I mean, he was ready to go. And so Officer William Bill Hunter is a well-known figure with the Philadelphia Police Department, with a career marked by both dedicated police service and significant involvement in the city's wrestling scene. Hunter has served as a Philadelphia police officer holding badge number 3343 for over 33 years. A significant portion of his career was spent in the Badlands, a challenging area of the city. He was a member of the district attorney's Dangerous Drug Offenders Unit and has served on the SWAT team. So we have that in common. Hunter has authored a book titled Surviving the Badlands, where he shares his experience as a police officer and lessons learned, particularly from the time in the Badlands. The book aims to inspire and guide future generations of law enforcement officers. And I love that. I think that's awesome. And to tell you the truth, I'm going to get it. I just haven't had a chance to read it because I got him on here so darn quick. But that's exactly the type of book that I'm going to recommend to our cadets. Hunter's upbringing and experiences instilled in him a commitment to honor, integrity, and professional service. In essence, Bill Hunter's life has been a testament to his dedication to the city of Philadelphia, both through his law enforcement career and his significant contributions to the local wrestling community. Let's bring Bill on. Bill.
Hey, Jay.
Welcome, buddy.
All right. Good to be here.
I think both you and I have nerves of steel, because we were, the stress that Amanda was under was intense. Ladies and gentlemen, we had two of the bigwigs from KGRA, Bill Forte, who's the program manager. We had like a guy above him, that Eric, that was in the studio, and they both were helping. And I was kind of just going, just have, and I'm a computer moron, and I was like, well, just have him use his wife's phone, and so we tried that. It really worked. So good.
Well, hold on. We got to give her. Come here.
Absolutely.
We got to give her a shout. Come on in. This is Sherry.
Mrs. Hunter.
I'm
Sherry
using
Hunter.
her phone.
Thank you for letting us borrow Bill tonight, and thank you for the phone. You came to the rescue. Thank you.
I did.
I appreciate it. So Bill's coming to us live from the New Jersey area.
Yes, I'm in Wildwood, New Jersey. This is where us old cops spend our weekends in Wildwood, New Jersey. Yes.
So you don't hang out in Philly on the weekends.
No. We all come down to Wildwood. That's what we do.
Well, listen, man, I appreciate it. I really do. Bill's willing to stick around as long as we need him to, and really, I just wanted to let you know, Bill, that this show is about you. This is all about you. So if you want to go into a certain avenue of something, man, just go for it, because this is like I said, I'm honored to have you here. I talked to Bill earlier in the week. I talked to him earlier. We talked for about 15, 20 minutes, and I knew right off the bat that I really like this guy. That he's just one of those guys that he's quiet. And he's one of those that is just, you just know he knows what's up. So it's going to be fun. So Bill, start off by telling us how you ended up getting involved and what led you to the world of policing.
You know, it's funny. I never intended on being a police officer. I mean, of course, I'm a little older. It was in the 80s. I was working in a steel yard, and I was in a good union job. Kids were younger, you know, you're by your house, you're paying tuitions, and you'll actually remember, Jay, in the late 80s, the steel industries were going down. You know, if nothing happened to the steel industry, I'd have never left. But it was going down. I was kind of worried. I was in my 20s, later 20s, and I started taking all kinds of tests because I could see the writing on the wall. Took the fire department test, police department, Roman Haas, Bud Company, all these big companies that were good paying jobs. I took them all. And it was just fortunate, one of the first people to call me were the police department. And I said, okay, let me jump on this. And, you know, it's funny because the two things I was really focused on after realizing I wasn't going to work in the steel industry was police and fire. My grandfather was a fireman. Dad was a fireman. So I took both thinking, okay, maybe I'll be third generation fireman. So what I did was, it's not as easy to become a fireman in Philly because they have less people. And two, these guys stay forever. So what I decided to do at that point was I took the fire department test written in Spanish, and I took the police department in English. And ironically enough, the police department called me first. By the time the fire department called me, I was already in the police department. It was just a funny situation I was in because I took it in another language. They called me down to their administration building. So I go into this room and there's 6 other people there, and no disrespect to nobody else, but I'm sure one guy's name was Juan, one was Hector, one was Jose, and you got me. Okay. So I'm sitting in the room, and as they're taking people in this room one by one, I can see them keep glancing at me like, are you supposed to be here? So eventually I go in this room with the letter, and the guy says to me, do you know why you're here? I said, oh, yeah, because you gave me this letter. They said, when they look at my letter, and they said, well, did you take this test? I said, oh, yeah, I took the test in Spanish. And they kind of looked at each other. They said, well, we're here to test your proficiency in English. I went, okay, let it rock. But, you know, they wound up asking me questions in Spanish. It was fine. Eventually they did offer me the job, but I was working what they call the 25th district, was the Badlands. And I was back where I was born. I was back where I was a kid. And I just kind of said, you know what? I told my dad, I said, Dad, I'm not going to be that third generation fireman. I think I'm going to stay where I'm at. It was a lot of fun being there. I enjoyed every minute of it. So
yeah,
that's how it started. No intention on ever doing it.
The Badlands, to me, from the pictures that I've seen, and you sent me a video, and we might show it here in a minute. Is that the Badlands? That video that you showed me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, why don't we just, Amanda, if you can play that, just throw it up there. We'll play that video real quick, because this is a video that actually you, if she's got it, that's a video that you actually put together. Am I right?
I teach a class. I teach a class. I show it to recruits. I show it to the new attorneys in Philadelphia, and I've even done judges. I've spoken at judges conferences, and they're really good people, but sometimes they need to see what's really going on. All they do is hear things. They'll hear people testify. They'll talk about something. Do they really envision it? No. So I took the time I created that video, and I mean, I'm not saying I'm a great Bruce Springsteen fan, but I thought the Bruce Springsteen song "Philadelphia" was perfect for that video, because what I did, if you ever seen the Bruce one, he rides up and down the streets of Philadelphia and everybody's waving high, high, high. And it's a great song. It really is. I think they used it in that movie with Tom Hanks, but I used it with what's really out there. And I show it to the recruits. I show it to the attorneys. I show it to judges. It's just reality.
Well, let's share it with everybody. Let's put it.
Unrecognizable to myself. Saw my reflection in the window. Didn't know my own face, oh brother. You're gonna leave me wasting away on the streets of Philadelphia. Voices of friends vanished and gone. I hear the blood in my veins. Just as black and whispering as the rain. The streets of Philadelphia. Night is falling, lying awake. I feel myself fading away. So receive me, brother, with your faithless kiss. So we leave each other alone like this on the streets of Philadelphia.
Yeah, Philadelphia. Good job. Philadelphia's got a population, and correct me if I'm wrong at any point, Bill, but I think it was 1.8 million. It's the sixth largest city in the country.
Yeah.
I just saw this today that it was ranked number 8 as the most violent cities in the country. It's just a dangerous place to be a police officer, I have no doubt, and especially in the Badlands.
On the flip side of that, though, there are beautiful places in Philadelphia. We have a new mayor, Mayor Parker, and I did that video just before she got in, and she's doing the best job of anybody in my entire career to clean up Philadelphia. She's coming across some obstacles, but I haven't seen anyone try as hard as she is. So I think she's doing the best job.
That's good.
She inherited a lot of problems that are already there, and I just, like I said, I think she's doing the best possible job she can. So, I mean, I applaud her. I absolutely applaud her. Now, these streets that I took that video on, these were where I was a kid. Them same corners where they're selling drugs, I used to sell pretzels. You know, it's
Wow.
obviously there's no market for pretzels there anymore. There's a market for open air drug sales. One of my chapters in my book, I write about some of the kids that I coached from that area, and they got involved in the wrestling with me. And as a coach, I'm very, very hard on them. Life is hard. I'm hard on them. Wrestling's a tough sport, and that's Eddie there and Joe Cooney on the other side. Eddie's just one of the many, many kids. Eddie Alvarez. I'm actually wearing his shirt. Oh yeah, I'm wearing his shirt. Eddie went on to be the MMA world champion, multi-millionaire right now. I think as I look at Eddie's accomplishments, one of the the thing I always tell him I'm most proud of is the father he's become and husband. He's just a great person. I mean, all the accolades for fighting mean nothing without his family, and that's number one to him. So, and I've got a lot of other kids. There's kids there's a kid, Timmy Murphy. Timmy lives at 6th and Girard. He's a financial advisor for Morgan Stanley right now. He grew up in these areas. These kids have done well. His kid Joshua Arce. Joshua was right here where that video was. Josh wound up getting an academic scholarship to Villanova. I'm invited to his wedding. He's living in Houston. He's got a wife. He's got a little baby girl. Very proud of these kids. I mean, even though it might look bad, there's some good kids in these areas. And that's the thing. That's Joshua there. You got to look for these kids. You got to find them. I gave the time. The sport helped me, and I knew it got me out of there. It's going to get them out of there. I do the best I can.
And that's why you're a legend, Bill, because you actually care, and those kids know it. There's just no other way around it. And I don't need to know you to know that. That's because you know as well as I do that being a cop in any big city or any city for that matter, if you're out there treating people wrong, the word is going to be out on you in a heartbeat. And they're going to know your name as somebody that's not good. And so,
it's funny. I had a partner who was what they call Boricua, but he's from Puerto Rico, and we would go out to these areas, and they would look at me and they wanted to tell me things. That snitches get stitches. It's a very true thing. It's absolutely true. And they don't want to talk to people. They've really got to trust you, and they would trust me. And they would tell me, "We're not going to talk to you with him there." And he used to look at me. I don't understand it. I'm the Boricua. And I'm like, it's all right. It's okay. And they just want to tell me things. And they knew they could trust me. And I think when I look back on my career, when I wrote that book, there was a couple things I really wanted to do. And one is I wanted to thank the people who live there, because they know I'm from there. And that's where I grew up, because they treated me with respect, and I treated them with respect. Two, I wanted to thank the people that I worked with. Okay, there's a lot of people I mentioned in my book who I worked with that were great influences on me. And three, I want to give advice to the young kids. I'm in court every day. Sometimes I hear them testify and they get a little nervous, and I'm thinking, I know what he's trying to say, but he just don't say it right. And if anything, I'd love to give classes on kids how to testify. The things I try to tell them is that remember this, and Jason, you're going to know exactly what I'm going to say right here. We're just witnesses. That's all we are. We go to court, we tell our story. Someone else is going to decide guilt or innocence. We don't decide that. And no matter what happens on the outcome, don't take it personal. Because if you take it personal, you don't last long on this job. As long as you know you did the right thing, it's okay. We live to see another day.
Yeah, I love that. I really do. And actually, that's one of the things that they don't really teach you in the academy. Mm-hmm. And there's like a void there, and they just kind of throw them to the wolves and expect to figure it out. But it's not the way it works. And we really should take the time to teach people that. That's great. So you started
at places. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Bill. No, go ahead.
A lot of places when they educate people and some in police, you might have someone teaching felony car stops in a police academy that never did a felony car stop. When you look at these review boards, I'm sure they're educated people, they're smart people, but have they ever had a gun pointed at them? Have they ever been like a hay or something whizzing by their head? So they don't know what it's like to be in that situation. And the best analogy I tell people is this: if I was going to learn how to swim, who do I want to teach me? Do I want the person that read all the books in the world in swimming, or do I want Michael Phelps?
Yeah.
Can I put it any better than that?
No, you can't.
And that's what we have today.
Yeah. you know, and I know you, and we have to have common sense too. And yeah, that's good. So, how many people did you have in your police academy?
When I went through, it was 105. I was class 296, September 91. So I guess next month it'll be 34 complete.
Yeah. And that's before lapel bikes probably even existed. So I know really, that's one of the big things for me, man. I remember when we got a lapel mic, and it was like a new contraption, and we were like, "Oh, this is great."
Are you ready for this? Vests were optional.
Really? Oh my gosh!
They were optional. Yes.
Did you have to buy them?
No, they gave them to you. But it was optional for you to wear it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't
different
long
times.
after that they made them mandatory. But I remember they were optional.
So Bill, tell us now. You get it through the academy, and the physical part of it probably wasn't tough for you because you were a wrestling. You were a beast. You know.
No, I was still competing then. I was still wrestling in tournaments then. I was in my late 20s, but I was still actually competing. You know, it's I think the average age back then in the academy might have been 21 or 22, and I was in my late 20s, and the younger guys were kind of busting my stones, calling me the old guy, until we got to PT. That all changed. That all changed.
Yeah, you were smoking them. You were probably smoking them for sure. So you get out of the academy, and once you get through that, then they send you to what part of the city? And I'd like for you to share what your first day was like, because that's kind of an interesting day.
Mine was a little different, okay? Because first I went with the transit police, and I was walking a footbeat in the Broad Street subway. I did that for a few years. The interesting thing there was, I was right there back in North Philly, the north end of Broad Street. And eventually I transitioned over to the district level Philadelphia police. And I still remember when I'm in that week transition, what I had to do was I had a revolver. And because that's what I went through the academy with. So we had just transitioned over to Glocks. So I did my Glock training, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just by myself. And the sergeant says to me, "So you're going to be transferred soon. Do you have any preference of where you'd like to go to?" I said, "Yeah, I'd like to go to the 25th district. That's the Badlands." And he kind of chuckled and said, "Well, that might not be a problem." The very next day, transfer came across, Bill Hunter, 25th district. So I was kind of happy with that. And it was pretty good. And my first day in the district, I was working what they call the midnight. I went right the last out, that midnight to 8. And pretty busy time in that area. But I still remember my very first arrest. So I'm driving around North Philly, and they give it what they call, you know what a GRM is. It's an acronym for a general radio message. So the general radio message was a car just stalling out of New Jersey, and it says make, model, tag number, and I'm looking, and the car is directly in front of me. So I'm like, oh boy, you know how that is. You get a little pumping right here. You're like, oh boy. I'm like, and this is my first night there. But I knew, I was a little older. I had a little savvy under my belt. I gave out, hey, this is where I'm at. I'm directly behind that car right now. Gave my location. I kind of stayed with it. Once I seen other lights in the background, then I lit them up. It was no problem. They pulled over. But that was my first arrest in the 25th district. It actually went pretty well. But there was many more to follow after that. But I was fair. Yeah. I was fair to people,
Yeah. Yeah. And I try to be as well. I'll tell you what, my dad gave me the best advice my dad ever gave me is he told me that make sure that your badge he was a highway patrolman in California. He goes, make sure that your badge is the same size it was the day they issued it to you, not 5 sizes too big.
There you go. Now, my first day, I got advice from an old timer, and this is the advice he gave me. He said to me, remember this. He goes, 1, that badge don't make you any tougher or stronger. Mm-hmm. He said, 2, every time you put cuffs on somebody, you're going to have to professionally articulate in front of a judge without making a fool of yourself. He said, 3, he said, whenever you're in a building and they have escalating stairs or elevators, use them instead of walking. That was the advice he gave me, and I never forgot it.
Yeah. That's good. So you go from there and you start out and you're working in the Badlands. Tell me, is that the south side of Philly, or where's that?
No, it's exactly? North Philly. It's North Philly. People from Philly know it pretty easily. It's probably in the center. I guess one of my heroes, neighborhood hero growing up was Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier's gym was right around the corner from our house. So, when we were kids, you could walk down the Broad in Glenwood, and there's Mr. Frazier's gym. And, he was a gold medalist, a world champion fighter. I mean, so what more do you want in that type of neighborhood? Just an icon. And so when we eventually moved out of the neighborhood and 20 years passed, and I go back, what we used to do when I was a kid, we go down to his gym, and you go into the gym and there's a long table there, and he would have juice and cookies and donuts for us while we watched the fights. So 20 years passed, I moved out of the neighborhood, I come back as a cop. One Saturday morning I'm working, I'm going, oh man, there's Mr. Fraser's gym. So I stop, I go in, I walk in the gym, there's a long table there. There's 25 kids sitting there. There's juice, donuts, and cookies. All them years that man kept that going. An absolute neighborhood hero, a legend there.
Yeah. So did you get to meet him?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. When we walked in uniform, he treated us like, he's a very, very friendly guy. You know what? I was so happy when the city put that statue up for him. I mean, of course, they got the statue of Rocky. I mean, everyone knows who Rocky is. But in our eyes, he was the real Rocky. You know, he was a brawler. He was a brawler. If you remember how he fought, he was a brawler.
Yeah.
His daughter is a judge in Philadelphia. And every now and then I have to go testify in front of her. And every time I testify in front of her, I still get butterflies in my stomach.
Yeah, I remember my dad telling me a story, but that he was writing a ticket or something, and Muhammad Ali walked by him when he was in Los Angeles, and he's like, right on. But he remembered it. So you go from there, and then throughout your career, you've had. I mean, what are all the specialty units that you've basically worked?
What happened was I applied for a position. And the position was a defensive tactic instructor. This is probably something that was really big. I didn't realize how big it was in my career. So I was able to get sent to the FBI Academy to get my teaching certificate in defensive tactics. So I get sent down there. I get down for a month. And the first day there, like you're with these guys, you know, they're going to teach you self-defense and stuff. I'm like, I was still competing. And they said one of them things like, what are you going to do if someone grabs you like this? Well, kind of instinctively I do things. So within the first day, they pulled me aside. They said, okay, what's your background? So I told them my background. So what happens is around 95, of course, we got the Olympic Games coming up in Atlanta, Georgia. And I didn't know this till then, that every Olympic Games, there's a law enforcement contingency there at the Games. They get officers there from all over the world to take part in securing the athletes. So one of the guys from the FBI said, you know what, you're a perfect fit. You speak more than one language. You look like an athlete, and you probably should apply for this. So I wound up applying for it, and lo and behold, in 96, I got sent down to Atlanta, Georgia. I spent my whole summer down there. And I was part of the security down there. At the end of the games, they gave us all gold badges. There was like 24 of us on my team. My roommate was from Australia. I got a gold badge from the Olympic Games. Says my name on the back of it. Is all my information. So I come back to the 25th district, and I start working with this what's called an East Narcotic Task Force. I'm working with a guy named Joe Bologna. Joe was one of the best supervisors I ever worked with. So I got to work divisional narcotics. First time I did it. Great time, some great partners, some great people I worked with. Taught me a lot. So Joe got promoted, and next thing you know, I'm working with other people. I'm working in a NETS team, which is a narcotic enforcement team, same area. I have another sergeant, Mikey Bloom. Mike's first, this is a humble, as a supervisor, this is what he said to us the first day. He said, guys, I never worked narcotics. I'm just going to go off your lead. You're going to be teaching me. How humble is that?
Yeah.
One of the worst things I've experienced, I won't mention names, I've experienced it even more recently, where you get a supervisor that comes in and he's half my age. He wasn't even on a job when I started. He wasn't born when I started, but he knows more than everybody. And they're the worst guys to work with. I go, oh my God. I remember him saying to me, I wanted to be a cop from the time I was 5. I almost choked when he said that. I'm like, oh man, don't give me one of them. But you know what? From there, was I'm working with Mike Bloom. He says to me, you know what, Bill? You'd really make a good fit for the SWAT team. And I'm going, I don't know, Mike. He goes, no, really, you'd be okay there. So I know what it required to go there. So I wasn't the greatest shooter, but I was okay. So I went and practiced for a good month or two, and then I put my transfer in. And the way it worked in Philly was they would take you in quarters. You'd have whoever applied for SWAT might go in April, then they try more in June, and then more like quarterly. So when I went, there was 9 of us, and they give you a course, and you have to shoot a 95 or better twice. So I go with these 9 guys, and we shoot the course. So I'm the only one that shot. I shot a 95. So the sergeant doing it looks at me and goes to me, "Well," he goes, "Bill," he goes, "you passed." He goes, "Now you got to do it again." He goes, "Not to mush you." He goes, "No one ever failed it the second time around, and you just passed." I went, "Oh shit!" But I passed it the second time. I got transferred to SWAT. It's a great training there. I think of all the units I've been in, the camaraderie with my SWAT brothers is a lifetime. I mean, I see these guys, they're just awesome. You know, it's like firemen. You know, firemen run, they don't run from fire, they run into fire. When police officers are in trouble, they call SWAT. And we went with some crazy situations. I write about a couple of them in my book. I mean, you know, you go in these situations, you think, okay, guess what? I was scared sometimes. You know, I had some situations where I was kind of like, oh shit. You know, this is getting serious. You know, you hear things going by. You know, you walk into a room, someone's shooting at you. You know, I've seen some of the best shots miss from 15 feet away when they're returning fire. You don't know that. You don't know how kind of reaction you're going to have. You know, so
but Bill, you're selling yourself short because you're failing to mention. So you practiced for like a month straight, right?
Yeah.
To be able to shoot. So you were like out there every day. Shooting. That's
I wanted the position. Yeah, I wanted the position. That's me. Yeah. That's an M4. So I'm holding an M4 there.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. Now I was in. There's a lot of similarities. You know, I started on the department from 28, so I was an older rookie myself, and I started out in narcotics, and I was on the SWAT team here, but I was a negotiator. So I wasn't. I did that part of it, but still, you're right. There is a camaraderie that exists there, and you're right about. I've heard about those supervisors that you mentioned. I've heard about it, and I've read about that in books, but I've just yet not ever came across that in my career. Where, no, I'm just kidding you. You know, better than that.
Yeah, I'll go back to the supervisor. There's only one type of supervisor I never liked. Okay, I never liked the one that thinks police work is a competition, because it's not a competition. The number one thing in police work is that we all stay safe. Yeah. We all stay safe and we work together. And then every now and then you see a supervisor who wants to outdo that guy or wants to outdo that group. Like, we want to be number one. Like, no, we're all number one. You know, and when I realize that I'm around someone like that, I kind of like to veer away from them, because I don't want to be around people like that, because being number one isn't the most important thing. Being number one might be great in a wrestling match. Being one might be great in the Super Bowl, but being number one in police work, no, you got to stay safe and work together, okay? Because at the end of the day, 30 years from now, crime's still going to be going on, okay? It's not going to stop. Drugs are still going to be sold. Let's all stay safe. Let's all work together. And that's one of the things I always told the guys I worked with. You know, we just all got to work together. Be safe, work together, work as a team. So what happened when I was in SWAT, I'm still part of the SWAT team. I'm in what they call the SWAT reserve team. Like, when I'm back tomorrow, I'll be working with SWAT tomorrow down at the Lincoln Financial Field with the Eagles playing the Browns. I'll be back outside with probably with an M4, you know, outside of one of the gates. But anyway, so I'm in SWAT, and I get a call from an inspector, really good guy, Tommy Nestel, his name is. I liked working with Tommy. He said he's starting his new unit up, and he goes, I get to handpick my guys, and I want you to be a part of it. This is probably around 2005 or something like that. And I'm like, what do you say to a boss? You know, you're like, sure, you know, you're handpicking me. I want to be a part of it. Well, that was one of the best things I ever did, because we did so many great jobs. That's where we did a job where I infiltrated a drug gang, and they had already committed 5 murders in this area, the Badlands. They already committed 5 murders, and we were able to infiltrate one of the people in their organization. And once they realized that he was talking to me, they shot him in the chest 5 times. Okay? He lived. So when we find out that he shot, me and my partner go to Temple Hospital. There he is on ventilators. They're like, we don't know if he's going to make it. We're doing the best we can. 4 days later, he wakes up from a coma. He's alive. He's going to make it. So we go to the hospital and he explains to us what happened, where he had my number in his pocket, and someone found that number in his pocket, and they realized it was my number. So that's when they shot him. So while he's in the hospital, 2 days later, there's another shooting victim. He's the same block. Okay, so they tell me, go to the hospital. He's asking for me. Guy's conscious. He's shot. He's asking for you. Hunter, he's asking for you. I go, okay. So I go to the hospital. I recognize him. He's part of that organization. He says, listen, you have to be careful. He says, because the guy who's running it, he just told the other ones he's going to pay them a ball of heroin to kill you. So a ball of heroin is about a good nice about 125 grams. At the time, you're talking, maybe $15,000-$20,000. Okay, they could resell that for that. So now, of course, they call the district attorney's office. The attorneys are there and the bosses are there, and they say to me, "We want to put a guard at your house. We want." I said, "No, you don't. Don't you dare put a guard at my house. I'm not going to live like that." I said, "You just give me 24 hours. I guarantee you, I'm going to find this guy and have him in custody." Probably took me about 18 hours, but I remember we sat on his drug block. I knew what drug block he ran. The bosses don't sit on the blocks. They come by for their money. That's all. We were probably there for about 12, 13 hours. My lieutenant at the time said to me, "Bill," he says, "let's move on, man. I don't think he's coming out here today." I said, "Lieutenant, it's going to come. He wants his money. This is what they live for." 10 minutes later, he comes pulling up in his Escalade. We all swoop right in. I walk right up to the car, and I remember his name. His name was Miguel. I said, "Hey, Miguel, you looking for me?" And all of a sudden, I opened the door. They put him in cuffs. That trial went on for a long time. They kept continuing. Cases go continue. Probably about 8 years later, while it was still lolling around in court, he took the deal. Never went to court. And he had one of the best attorneys in Philadelphia. We had so much evidence on him. That was a great job. That was, really turned out well. What did we get out of it? With me and my partner, we got a nice meal and a plaque from the Citizens Crime Commission for that. Kind of meager for what we went through, but you know what? That's the job we choose. This is what we do.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Yeah. What did he end up getting? Just out of curiosity. Hopefully, he got wiped out. What was it?
No, I think he pled out to 24 years. It took a plea for 24 years. The charge was solicitation to kill a police officer.
Wow.
We actually had we put people in witness protection, where they were hidden away and they were waiting to come in and testify, and they were in that long. And I think that the defense, their whole strategy was keep continuing. Then other things hit, like, the next thing you know, they're in this other thing. He's got a broken leg, or you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, like, they got to the point where you can't continue this no more. And he took the deal for 24 years.
Okay.
So
now you said something. Go ahead, Bill. No, I was going to say, you said something. No, go ahead and finish off that statement. I want to hear that.
No, I mean, it was kind of meager. 24 years. He wasn't going to fight it, so we knew he wasn't going to fight it from the beginning. We did a really good job with our investigative work, where we, dotted our I's and crossed our T's, and everything we did right. So, I mean, it went well. It went well. So.
You said something interesting. Well, first of all, I wanted to tell everybody, he doesn't just speak one or two. He doesn't speak just two languages. He speaks 3 languages.
Well, my Spanish is really good. Okay. I get used by the state police, the Attorney General's office, the DEA. I've done wiretaps for them where I would be the translator for calls. I think they like using me because, when they talk about areas in Philly, I know them. They're great guys. Don't get me wrong, they're great guys. But if they're not from Philly and are talking about locations, they might not know that area. I know the area. I'm from the city. I'm going to tell them where they're going. Yeah. So it was great experience. Although I will say this, 7 years I was in a wire room. I was completely burned out after 7 years in a wire room. It's not the easiest thing to do. It might sound glamorous and fun. Times it's fun, but man, I was burned out at the end of 7 years. Yeah. I was ready to move on.
Yeah, some of that's mind numbing. Just listening to that ignorance, nonstop ignorance.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. But so you said something early on when we first started talking that kind of I didn't know this, and you said that you'd started out in the transit area. Yeah. And so my experience, a lot of people don't know. Like for NYPD, people don't just go to NYPD. You get into their academy, and then you might go to transit police, or the Port Authority. You might go to the Port Authority or the housing or NYPD. You don't know where you're going to go. Which
Right.
is it kind of like that also for Philadelphia?
No, it's actually a different department. It's a totally different department. But because I'm MPO, municipal police officer, when my I had applied for both, and when the city said, "Okay, are you ready to come over?" I'm like, "Sure, I'm ready to come over." I guess the difference is when I weighed it out. If I stayed with transit, I could have lived outside the city at the time. But at the time, the city I had to stay in the city. So, but the difference was that there's so many different things to do for the city. You could be canine, you could be SWAT, you could be highway, you could be narcotics, you could be anything you want. There's so many different. You could be crime scene unit. Where with the transit guys, you're walking a foot beat in the subway. I don't care how long you're there, you're going to be walking a foot beat in the subway.
Yeah.
So when the opportunity came, it wasn't far into my career. It was right after not far, but actually it was right after I got back from the FBI training. So I was back a week, and next thing you know, the city gave me that call. I'm like, okay, I'm in. So I went up to the academy. I got the Glock, shot my course. Guy says to me, where would you like to go? I'd like to go to 25th District, and I was there. That's how that happened.
That's neat.
But after that, let me say where I'm at now. I go to this unit, DDOU. That's where I did my wiretaps, DDOU, where I worked out of the district attorney's office. There were some good guys there. I had a good time there, but I just got burned out from the wire. I was really burned out from the wiretaps. So from DDOU, I met this sergeant named Andy Callahan, and as many sergeants as I talked about so far, Andy was the smartest, the absolute smartest guy I ever worked for. Okay, he just knew how to say things, do things, and he made the job not just fun. He made you want to work, and that's what I liked about Andy. So it was an absolute pleasure working with Andy. Me and Andy are both still on the job. I'm doing something different now because I'm near the end. Andy's near the end. But and I worked with Andy in the FBI, then back to the DEA. What I do now, I guess it was about a month or two ago, my inspector and my lieutenant, Charlie Jackson. I work with Charlie, great guy. We're talking about where my career's at now. And I was the narcotics. I still am the narcotics expert for Sixton Arts, which is the federal building, and for the Criminal Justice Center, which is state jobs. And I read the files, and I let them know whether they can prosecute with selling or just possession. But the DEA boss at the time, young kid, didn't feel that I was helping him doing both, being the expert and going there. They said, you have to pick one of the two. I went, listen, I'm near the end. I'll just take care of the court stuff right now. And that's what I'm doing. Now, right now, what they call the drop, I have 9 months left in the drop. My exit date would be June of next year. Although I did agree to doing it next year. I'll make that decision when the time comes. I think next year in Philadelphia, it's going to be a really, really busy summer. So I think I'm going to at least stay for that. We got the World Cup. We have the Major League All-Star Game. We have the 250th anniversary of America. So it's going to be a really busy summer in Philadelphia. And I'll probably be just back with the SWAT team then anyway. So, I love going with them guys. Even like I said, tomorrow, I'm looking forward to hanging out, put on my black uniform tomorrow, getting that M4, hanging out with the guys. Even the young guys, it's one of them units where there's guys there that weren't there when I was there. But when I talk to them, you could tell the respect they have for me, and I have the respect for them because we walked in the same shoes.
Yeah. What a special time to be a cop in Philadelphia, with the history and for the 250th birthday of the country.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty epic, man. That's going to be really something special. So you're doing your thing and you're doing that. And is that unusual for cops to stick around for as long as you are? Because we talked about this briefly because like NYPD, it seems like a lot of those guys, they get out of there after 20 and they're gone. Which I have a hard time wrapping my head around that, 20 years, but a lot of those guys are out. So what about there in Philadelphia?
I like it. Like I said, one of the things I said early on when we were talking is I don't take it personal. I don't look at the criminals and let's say I go to court, I do a great job, and some judge finds or an attorney finds this little technicality. They go, I'm not kicking over trash cans. I'm not jumping off. I'm like, okay, I learned a little bit. Okay, maybe I won't let that happen again, but I don't get mad about it. I don't take it personal. I think that's what's helped with my longevity here. Like, I realize that 20 years from now, this is still going to be going on. I'm going to be gone, and this is still going to be going on. So I don't take it personal. I think one of the things I'm looking to get involved in now is that I was already approached by the school districts in Philadelphia, both public and Catholic. The numbers to get in the police department have gone down. So, like I said, I was in a class of 105. I think I heard the last class had 40 or 45. That's significantly different. So what the schools are trying to do now, and I've actually already helped them out a little bit, is they want to institute a curriculum that mirrors the police academy to get those kids to go that way. And I'm thinking to myself, what a great idea, not just to get kids to gear that way, maybe to bridge that gap between young kids and police officers, because they're going to be taking classes that they're going to be getting in the police academy. Maybe they'll understand why we do what we do. Yeah. So what I recently did was for the Philadelphia Public Schools is I wrote their curriculum for them, and I sent it in to them. They actually offered me the job to teach at one of the schools. They want to start at one school this year and hopefully open to other schools. And the reason I turned them down was because I want to finish my drop. Finishing the drop is financially rewarding. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're talking a whole year of not just a police salary, a whole year of that drop check going in. So if I was to walk away, I'd be cutting the drop short. So they said to me, well, would you help me with the curriculum? And that's what I did. I helped them with the curriculum. But at the same time, one of the Catholic schools found out about it. And the Catholic school right now, they already have programs for welders, carpenters, mechanics, and the unions are running it. So these kids are graduating high school, going right into them unions, which is awesome. Well, they want to add the police thing too, but that wouldn't be till next September. So I got some decision making to make before now and the end of my career, which one I'm going to go with. It doesn't matter to me. I think it's a great idea, and I just like to be a part of it. I think that's great. And actually, I'm glad to hear that they're doing that there, because they're kind of doing something similar to that here in Oklahoma as well. Their vo-techs of today, man, like it sets these kids up, man, for life, for a career, and it's really amazing. And the amount of money that they put into these programs is incredible. So I went to night school. At Temple, probably for like 8 or 9 years. And I still remember with tuition was costing me like $2,600 or $2,700 a semester. But I had to carry between 8 to 10 credits because I had to keep my part-time student status up. But now, I really pay that off very quickly. Nowadays, the difference is this. These kids who can't afford it, who aren't on scholarship, and they're not having mom and dad pay, they're taking loans out, they're graduating college $200,000, $300,000 in debt. Yeah. So it's taken them 8 or 9 years to pay that off before they can even think about buying a house. But, these unions, you get these electricians, these kids are getting out of 18. By the time they're 20, 21, they're making $100,000 a year and they're buying homes. Maybe that's the better way to go right now. Buying a home is number one in America. Once you buy your home, you're set, and that's the route. Go to them, right now, because the tuition's so high. I don't want to badmouth the politician, but I remember one of the politicians saying he wants to make college free. Like, there's no way you can make college free. What do you think? Professors are going to work for free and maintenance people are going to work for free? No. Someone's going to pay for that.
But I do think that it can be made a little cheaper.
Absolutely.
I think that when these colleges have hundreds of $1 million in sitting back in endowments and stuff and whatever else they've got going on, that's just crazy. But I'll tell you what, I can relate to that too. It took me 9 years to get my bachelor's degree, and I don't remember my parents ever paying 1 red cent on it. Right. College wasn't part of my DNA, man. And I was working full time in school. Working full time a job, going to night and coaching wrestling. During the semesters, I would probably leave my house about 7 a.m. I'd go work in the steel yard. I'd go coach my wrestling team for 2 hours and then I used to jump on this bus called the 3 bus. I used to catch it at North Catholic. So I would catch this 3 bus. It would probably take me about 35 minutes to get to Temple. That's when I did all my schoolwork.
I would leave my car at North Catholic. That's a school I coached at. So I would leave my car there, get on the 3 bus, and I would do all my work on the back of the 3 bus. And when I got back on the 3 bus to get back to North, I would do the rest of my work. That's how I got my work done. I had no time to do schoolwork. I would do all my writing. That's it.
I believe it because for me too, I even took a couple of classes where I did the whole class over the weekend, 3 college credits. Yeah. And I finished it over the weekend because I bought the right book that had all the answers highlighted in it. And I mean, you know what I mean? It was just like crazy.
Did you ever take
semester? Well, my last semester, I think. Go ahead.
Did you ever take the summer classes?
I didn't stop. It was a constant.
Exactly right. Every now and then I would take a summer class. It would be like 3 weeks long, and that was it. And it was like, yeah, I'll take them credits for 3 weeks. It was so like hurried, but you got it done. You got it done.
And I'll ask you a question you probably get asked all the time from people that are outside of Philadelphia. But did you ever meet Sylvester Stallone? And
yes.
And yeah, I mean, what was that like? Were you living in Philadelphia when he's running up and down the streets and filming Rocky?
Yes. I was in high school. When the Rocky movies came out. Just from being in Philadelphia, he's an icon. Like, going to Eagles games, he'll show up at Eagles games. I think one of the coolest guys I ever met, though, I remember working this set. I was a young cop working this set of 12 Monkeys. Okay. Have you ever seen the movie 12 Monkeys? Bruce Willis?
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
Oh my God. He was one of the nicest guys I've ever met. He was he made sure we were fed. He's like, it'd be really nice. I don't want to mention who his wife was, but she was mean to us, but he was the nicest guy ever.
Yeah. Well, Sylvester Stallone, he's the Tulsa King. And so I have not met him. I'd like to. I've heard.
Oh, he wouldn't remember meeting me. I've made it like, you're there with a whole bunch of people. But
no, of course. Well, I'll tell you what, I've heard he hates the heat here when he's had to film some of the seasons here because he's just not used to that heat.
Oh, yeah.
But I bet he would. I bet that was just incredible to watch that as a kid or as a high schooler, man. I mean, what pride it brought to your city, Now,
you've seen the Rocky movie, right? Okay.
Oh, I've seen them all. I've seen them all many times.
The very first Rocky movie, Rocky's running across a bridge in Kensington. He's got about 50 kids running behind him.
Yep.
Okay. One of them guys behind him was one of my partners in SWAT, Richie Koborowski. Richie was one of the kids running behind him. So Richie always tells me, I'm in that crowd.
That's cool. That's really cool.
But that's that area, that bridge he ran across back in the video. Okay. I actually, that street that the movie's filmed on, Tusculum Street, 1818 Tusculum Street, that's in that video that we watched earlier. That area. That's what that area looks like today.
Is Mickey's Gym? Is Mickey's Gym still around? Or I mean, I know it's not a gym, but
no. What it was a place. It was Stelio's Pizza, and that's still there on the corner. What they did is they doctored up to look like a gym. What just got torn down in the past couple of years was Adrian's Fish Store. That's now a vacant lot. Okay. It's no longer a fish store. It was there for years though, but
it was actually a fish store.
Yes, it was actually a fish store.
Oh, okay.
But Mickey's Gym was Stelio's Pizza. I think it's at Front and Dolphin. That's the location, but it's still there. I don't know if it's still called Stelio's, but it's still a pizza parlor there. That's all it is, a pizza parlor. And then you got the one, I think it's with Tommy Morrison, where he's fighting Tommy outside. That's at Kensington, Somerset. That's a bar, which is still right there. That's a bar that's still there.
Tommy Morrison got arrested here in Tulsa too, so there's another little Tulsa connection. Yeah, that was right before he died. I think I don't remember what it was for. He had warrants here or something. But so let's talk briefly about your book too. I want to talk about that, Surviving the Badlands. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, he put this out in January of 2025, and I love this because here's what I love about it. When you were telling me about this, you said, "Yeah, I wrote it." And then my commissioner called me. So
I got a call from the commissioner's office. Yeah, and I was looking out and thinking, "Oh boy, I might get in trouble for this one." I mean, you're active. I'm active. You're limited, but the call was positive, so I was glad with that. But there's a lot of things I talk about in there and about how I handle things. I think one of the stories I tell in there is about early in my career where I'm driving down, like people get so up that whole DUI thing, and they want to, like I once had someone look at me and say to me, "I would lock my grandmother up for smoking in a non-smoking section." I said, "I would light the cigarette for her." Okay, like who wants to do that? So this is in the book. I wrote about this story where we had just gotten these new cars with these gooseneck lamps. So the gooseneck lamp was you could put it up and you turn it like this. It gets bright and it gets dim, so you can do your paperwork. So I worked in the 25th, so my radio said 1125, channel 11, 25th district. So I'm driving down the street. There's a car into a tree, hit a couple parked cars, and everyone's around them. And I pull up, and it's right around the corner where I grew up at. And they're looking at me. They're going, Hunter, he's DUI'd. You got to lock him up. DUI. I'm looking. It's like this 65, 70-year-old man, scared to death because they want to lynch him. I'm like, well, whose car is this? Nobody's. It's abandoned. Whose car is this? Nobody's. Abandoned. Well, the tree, nothing damaged the tree. The tree just messed his car up. So I'm looking at him and I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to lock this guy up. He's scared to death. I mean, so what I do, so I make him sit in my car and I make him put his mouth on my gooseneck lamp. So I tell everybody, I'm going to give him the DUI test. So I'm moving that little thing and makes it bright and dim. So when it goes bright, his cheeks are getting real red because he's got his mouth on my lamp. So I'm looking at it and everybody's standing around my car going, ooh, ooh. So I go, okay. I said, if this says 1200, he's drunk. So I move away. It says 1125, 1125, 11. I said, oh, it's under 1200. He's not drunk. So what I wind up doing is I park his car. I find out where he lives. As I'm driving him home, he falls asleep in the back of the car. So I get him to his house, knock on the door. I open the door. I get a little note. I pin it on his chest where his car is. I leave him there. I left him at his house. So you know what's funny? I never thought that would come back on me. So 20 years pass, and we're shopping around for mattresses for our shore house. So I go in, and this lady says to me, are you a cop? So you don't know how to answer that sometimes. You don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. So I look at her and I kind of go, yeah. She goes, I know who you are. She goes, you're the guy that brought my father home and pinned a note on his chest when he was drunk. I'm going, oh my God, I remember that. But you know what? She said, hey, he was so embarrassed. He said he was so sorry. He goes, that changed his life. He goes, I don't think he ever drank again. I said, did he get his car? She went, yeah, he got his car. I put that wrote on the paper where his car was. But you know what? Sometimes that's how you got to handle things. But when you handle things that way in that area, the people treat you differently.
Yeah.
You can't, sometimes you just got to do things a little differently. It's like, I think the line that I use in the book, I say, rules are just a guideline. That's what they are. They're a guideline. And sometimes if you want to, complete your mission, you got to do things a little differently.
Yeah.
But
sometimes,
mm-hmm.
yeah, you don't, yeah. Sometimes, there was a time when you could really use discretion and,
I know that's why I don't like them new cameras. I don't have one, but
I've never had one. I've never had one. So
they haven't asked me. They haven't asked me to wear one yet, so I'm not asking for it.
Now I'll tell you what. There's a few things that Cops has been filmed in Philadelphia back in the day. And he told me about a couple of shows. One of them was Risk Takers in Philadelphia that you can actually watch. You can actually watch him at work. And what's the other show? Let's talk briefly about that.
Well, the Risk Takers was done with Louis Theroux. Okay. Louis Theroux is the European Geraldo Rivera. Like, you might not recognize his name, but if you were in Europe, it's like you saying Geraldo Rivera. He goes all over the world. He goes into different situations, and we took him through the Badlands. I liked him. I had to set him straight early, though, because, he really got geared up. Like, he had a level 4 vest on, and he had everything on, the helmet, everything, and it was kind of funny. But as we went into these areas, people would talk. The whole thing was I had to get people to talk to him, and I show up, and they're going to talk to him. And you can see it in the Risk Takers. You can watch it. You can see it. But he actually was kind of condescending with a couple people. So I kind of looked at him. I said, Louis, it's okay. I said, if you want to talk to these people that way, I'll wait around the corner. And he kind of got what he kind of got the hint. So he kind of toned it down a little bit. But I think he came for to do an episode or two. They went up doing 6 episodes. So and in the 6, I probably did 4 of them. I probably
Yeah, so
did
you can
4.
check them out. I checked out a couple of them, and they're great. So you can see,
Yeah.
you can actually see Bill at work, and that's Risk Takers. And what's the other show? That remind me what that other show was called?
Yeah, that was with a Canadian crew. I told I guess she's your director, Amanda.
Mhm.
Okay, I told her it was a Canadian crew. They ran a show called that was it, Risk Takers. It was Risk Takers. So if you were to Google Risk Takers Philadelphia SWAT, okay, they went out with me and my partner Johnny Reckner at the time, and we took them around. Again, we took them around North Philadelphia, and we took
And I
them
think,
on
wasn't
couple
there another one too?
barricades. That was it. It was a with law and disorder. That's it. Law and disorder in Philadelphia.
right.
Law
Yeah.
and disorder in Philadelphia is the one with Louis Theroux, and then Risk Takers Philadelphia SWAT is the other one.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's
check
funny.
them out. You can go on a virtual ride along with Bill. So so check those out, and they're
That
actually
was
on
fun
YouTube.
stuff. That was some fun stuff.
No, that's fun. I bet you got recognized a ton by a lot of
Yeah.
people living in that area for sure, and that's fun too.
Well, that's why they sent him out with me, because they knew that I knew all the people out there, and the people would talk to them if they were with me. If they went out with someone who's not from that area, I mean, I truly believe there's certain things that maybe people not agree with. I agree with diversity. Okay, when you look at an area like North Philadelphia, how could you bring in someone who grew up like in the sticks, let's say the Pocono Mountains, and say, here you are in North Philadelphia now patrol? They don't know the people there. They don't know their needs. They don't know how to communicate with them. I mean, they can eventually learn, and not to say they can't learn it, but right off the bat, that's why I was so fortunate. They put me right out there. My first night in the 25th district, it wasn't like they said, here's your training partner, or, hey, ride with this guy. No, they said, hey, you're 2513 car tonight. I had to turn to somebody and say, you got a key? I didn't even have a key. So I was all right with it, though, because I knew the area. I grew up there.
Yeah,
So, I was like, I'm okay with it. So,
Which is saying something. Well, a lot of the cops coming out of the academy, from what I was listening to the Good Cop, Bad Cop podcast that you were on, the one before this, where a lot of cops didn't even have cars, man. They had to go just hit the streets. And so you were lucky enough to get a car.
Yes.
And do they have you guys get take-home cars now, I would assume?
No.
Oh, really? Okay.
No. When I was working with the DEA and the FBI, they gave me a take-home car.
All right.
So I'm no longer working with them at the end. So, I mean, it's a little different now for me. I'm kind of like, I guess you say, winding down a little bit. Although, I still get a little edgy. That's why tomorrow I'm going to be working with SWAT tomorrow. I'll be down at the Eagles-Browns game tomorrow. I'll be working at. Don't know what gate I'll be at, though, but I'll be in my black uniform with an M4. I was like, just greeting people. Yeah,
that's
really
pretty cool.
Yeah.
One of the things that I love about the cops back east, up into I've met some Philadelphia guy, or actually I think he worked in the Philadelphia complexes and stuff, but I've met people from back east. You guys have a camaraderie that just doesn't exist throughout the rest of this country, really. I'm not saying it doesn't at all, but it's something special back east where if I was to go up there, it's like, hey, they treat you like a brother, really. It's pretty neat. So it's pretty cool. Now, there's another story I want to mention real quick before I forget, and we're getting close. But was there something about you guys didn't you get flagged down about an accident or something happened with a pregnant girl or something like that?
Oh, yeah, that was early in my career. I wasn't flagged down. Okay, this has really humbled me early in my career. Really, really humbled me. So we're talking probably 95 maybe. So early. So what happened is I'm working with a guy named Ronnie Price. Ronnie passed. We're a good guy. Ronnie passed. We were in the academy together too. But we heard the gunshots. We just heard it wasn't like pop, pop, pop. It was automatic weapons. So we weren't far. We pull up 9th in Indiana, ironically a block away from where I was born. I lived at 9th in Somerset or 9th in Percy, right in that area right there. We pull up in the corner, and there's a guy sitting in a car. This car is just riddled with bullets. When I say riddled, it's all over. If you ever remember Angelo Bruno, the way it was a Philadelphia mobster was killed like that. So he's just head back, big, huge guy. And about 20 feet behind him was a woman, and she was face down with an ice cream cone in her hand. So now you know how we're trying to secure a crime scene. There's 100 people out there. It's probably 11:30 at night. There's 100 people out there, 200 people, and we're getting shoved around. There's only me and Ronnie. We're trying to secure this guy in the car, secure the woman on the ground. And I checked her. I knew she was gone. She was not breathing. She had no pulse. She was on the ground face down. So I'm trying to secure it. Meanwhile, I have all these people screaming at me. She's pregnant. She's pregnant. She's pregnant. Okay, and if no one was there, I'm roping this off. Okay, everybody stand back. But I was scared. I was really scared. So I get my car. I call Temple. Temple's 4 blocks away. I said, all right, I have a 5292, which is code for dead person. I said, however, she is 7 months pregnant, 8 months pregnant. I can't remember. So now I put her in the car. We drive to Temple. Meanwhile, I got 5 or 6 cars following me of the people who are family, I guess. We get to Temple. They're waiting for me because I told them I was coming. They get her. Now I'm in the operating right there area, and I'm pushing people back because they want to get in there. There's kind of mayhem going on. I watched them cut this woman open, okay? And they reached in and pulled this little infant out of her stomach. And when they pulled her out of her stomach, it was limp. Picture me holding with something just limp. And then they got these little pasty things, these little, I guess you put on turkey basters. So they went up each nostril, down the throat. And after the third one, I seen this. Boom, boom. You see them start breathing. I was like mortified. I was like, holy shit. I actually cried. I couldn't believe it. And all I kept thinking to myself was, I wasn't going to move her. I wasn't going to move her. And as I kept thinking, now, eventually there was an arrest made, 4 individuals that were involved in that. So we went to trial. So that's where I met this guy named attorney named Carlos Vega. Carlos, the best homicide attorney in the history of Philadelphia. I don't care what anyone says. So there I am, and I have to testify to what I saw and what I did. So as I'm testifying, he asked me on what happened after they did the little turkey basters. They said, do you remember the gender? I said, yeah, it was a boy. Well, I seen this older woman jump up out of the courtroom and run out. Okay, she ran out of the courtroom. I realized that was the grandmother because the mother died right there. So as years went on, I got to know the family pretty well. The young boy was raised by his aunt. I can't remember her name. She moved to Jersey, and the father and mother still lived here. So every time I seen him, we had this little bit of a relationship. So the boy is now 20. He's got to be close to 30 years old now. Late 20s. Lives in Jersey. The irony is that the grandfather told me his mother, who died at the scene, she never spoke a lick of English. The son don't speak a lick of Spanish. But you know what? If I wasn't forced to drive her, that wouldn't happen. Yeah. And kind of humbled me. It humbled me really a lot. And I wrote a whole chapter on how I felt when that happened. It's just Elizabeth Carrasquillo. Her name was Elizabeth Carrasquillo. I'll never forget it. Never forget it.
Yeah, that's a little divine intervention. I mean,
golly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So, and then the thank you for sharing that story. When I heard that earlier, I was like, oh my gosh, that's one of those monumental moments as a cop.
Yeah. And I was young. I was early in my career. So I was like, holy shit. Man,
hopefully he's doing well in life.
Although I got a funny story, right?
Yeah,
so
please.
Here's a good one. Do you ever deal with people with Alzheimer's?
From time to time.
Okay, so here we go. So it's about 3:00 in the morning. I have court. What happened back then, I don't know if they still do it. If you have court and you're working midnight to 8, they let you go home about 4:00, get some sleep. So my sergeant calls me in. He says, listen, come on in the headquarters. I go in the headquarters, and you got the drug dealers there and these old couple there. He's probably 80, she's probably 80, and the drug dealers walk him into the district saying, something's wrong, they don't belong out here, they're going to get hurt. So, you know what? They did the right thing. So my sergeant says to me, hey, Bill, take them home. When you take them home, you can scoot out, get some sleep for court tomorrow. I said, okay. So I talked to the guy. I get out of him this address, okay? So I put him in the back of my car, and as I'm driving, they're like necking. They're like, you're talking console, hockey, everything. They're in the back seat. As I'm trying to talk to them, all they're doing is kissing and hugging. So I'm like, oh my God. So I get them to the house. The guy gives me, it's within the district. I go knock on the door. What I'm not going to do, they're still in the back seat. This guy answers the door. He's looking at me going, I have no idea who that is. I'm going, well, that's the address he gave me. He goes, I have no idea who that is. So now I go out to the guy. I have to interrupt them, separate them for a second. I ask him if he has ID. He's got this wallet on him. I open up the wallet. There's an address on it. Totally different part of the city. So it's a pretty good ride. So I let them know, listen, I'm going to take the guy home. He don't live here. He lives in another place, another part of the city. So now I drive up this other part of the city. As I get there, there's a light on. I knock on the door. Guy comes outside. He says to me, oh my God. He goes, we've been looking for Dad all day long. He goes, we were so worried about him. I said, well, he was in North Philly. He took me to this house on D Street. He goes, that's the house you grew up in. I went, oh, okay, that's where we went first. Here I am. So the guy walks down to the car, and he's still in the back seat kissing. He says to me, who's that lady with him? My mom's going to kill her. I went, whoa. So now I'm like, what the hell's going on? Now I don't know who the hell this lady is. Now I got to figure out where she lives. So we walk in the house, and now this lady, I'm like, who the hell are you? So she lives in another part. I didn't get home till I got home about 6 o'clock in the morning. So I really get much sleep. But you know what, though? It was a good laugh. It was definitely a good laugh.
No,
but,
sure.
That was my
finally,
first dealing with Alzheimer's.
For just real curious, I'm curious is what's your advice for the young officers of today? Because, you know, I'll tell you what, well, first of all, what are you noticing about the young officers of today that's just something that if you could correct, what would it be? And what would, you know?
They're apprehensive. They're really apprehensive because I think there's a fear of doing the wrong thing. So and I like I said, I'm in court every day. I hear them testify, I hear them present their cases, and they just need to be polished up a little bit. You know, early in my career, I get up on a stand and you get beat up by a real good defense attorney. And in Philadelphia, trust me, we got some great attorneys. And, you know, we got Lou Savino, Jeremy Alva. These guys are really, really good. And early in your career, you get beat up with these guys. One or two things are going to happen. You can say, I'm never locking nobody up again because I'm never going to put myself in that situation and go, that's never going to happen to me again. And you learn how to present a case. You get up on the stand, you present your case. The young guys aren't doing a great job of it. I think mostly because I think the people teaching it probably never been up on that stand. You know, it kind of goes back to that analogy I used earlier. You want to learn how to swim? Who do you want? Someone who read all the books on swimming, or someone who actually you want Michael Phelps? Or I'd say Mark Spitz. You know, the young kids, they probably know who Mark Spitz is.
Yeah.
So
well, I don't even think
that's part of my advice. The other advice I think I might have said earlier, don't take it personal. It's not personal. Do your job, do it to the best of your ability. Right. And if it gets thrown out, it gets thrown out. It's not your fault. You know, it really isn't. You know, but the most important thing is that everybody works together and we work as a team. Yeah.
And treat people right. I mean, I'm not advocating backwards in the community.
I'll
be
stay
safe,
out of their homeless guy, you know. I don't care.
It doesn't say anywhere in the rule book that you can't be nice to people. Be as nice as they allow you to be. Yeah, that's right. That's right. And
what's that old saying? You attract more bees with honey than vinegar.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
And I think that's
I used
one
to
of those
walk
things.
Through the cell room. I used to walk through the cell room. I walk in the cell room and there'd be probably 15, 20 cells. And I'd walk around and I'd grab a couple bottles of water. But the water, they were there. And I'd walk in, I walk up, hand them water. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? Next thing you know, they want to talk to me. I mean, just being, I didn't have to do that. But you know what? That opens doors. Stuff like that opens doors.
That's right.
You know, there's an extra sandwich here. I give that guy the extra sandwich. Someone didn't want to give it to him. You know, they remember that. They remember that.
They sure do. So if somebody wants to explore the Philadelphia Police Department in reference, I'm sure they're hiring nonstop.
Oh, yeah.
And so, and I've told people this all the time, there's no time like the present. If you're interested in a exciting career in law enforcement, believe it or not, you know, you remind me, I want to be like you when I grow up, honestly. But in reality, I think that you're
do when I grow up.
Well,
I'm going to have to grow up real soon.
Because I think that you're one of those type of people that you still love people. You still like people, and I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. I don't have any problems with it. I like talking to people, and that's really what makes you That's what make going to work fun.
I'm wearing Eddie Everett's shirt too. He has his own gym now. That's what this
Love
is.
Love it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've really enjoyed this, and I think that you're definitely one of those type of people. Is there anything else that you want to add to this epic podcast? And man, thanks a lot.
Jay, I appreciate you contacting me. You know, I do. I appreciate you contacting me. The funny thing about the book, it's just something I always wanted to do. I talked about it. Some people talk about doing it. I did it. And I didn't expect, for like 3 weeks, it was the #1 selling book on Amazon.
Nice.
I mean, it's done. You don't make a lot of money off books. You don't become millionaires unless you're Stephen King. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm lucky I made it. It probably cost me like $1,600 to do it, with the publishing, with the editing, the printing. I got everything done, but I wrote it all myself. I didn't have a ghostwriter. I did it all myself. And I'm lucky if I got double that back. So it's not like you make a ton, but you know what though? I think there's a strong message out there for people who want to explore this career and for the ones that are on it. And of course, I thank a lot of people, including the people who live in North Philly. No, that's good, man. I can't say enough about just the fact that you sat down and actually wrote it. I mean, we all talk about it, but you actually did it. And that's something that takes a lot of discipline to be able to do. And I love the fact that you've got a message in there. So I'm definitely going to take a look at it and I'm going to read it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you what, just to let you know, the merchandise did drop. Amanda's got a link for it. The merchandise, if you wanted to get something from this show, like a mouse pad or whatever, it certainly goes to a good cause. It makes the show better, and take a look at it. There's some of that stuff that's on there. I love the drink glasses. I think the drink glasses are really epic. I think some of the stuff is really cool looking. And then there's some of that stuff that's going to disappear in a near future because it doesn't look like me. But there's some really cool stuff. So check it out. If that's something that you're interested in, it certainly goes to a good cause. I want to remind people to like and subscribe this channel. Bill, I'm going to send you a link. Yeah, thanks. And I want you to share it with everybody that and hopefully it'll go viral. And I don't make any money, but this is my healthy hobby. And honestly, the best part about doing this podcast is meeting people like you that now I have in my stable of friends. And if you ever have anything, you ever find yourself out this way, then I'd be upset if you didn't give me a shout. So absolutely, I got your number now. That's right, you do. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I can't tell you, thank you all so much for your patience. Remember to like and subscribe. Go to my Detective Jason White YouTube page, Detective Jason White YouTube. You can find me at Detective Jason White on Facebook. You can go to Instagram, Twitter. I'm very accessible. You can find me. If you want to watch me speak, remember November the 21st, I'll be in Fort Smith, Arkansas at the U.S. Marshal Museum. Remember, we sold out 300 seats the last time, and all of that goes to a good cause. It's a very, very small price, and believe me, I'm not getting it. It's going to the museum, and that's 2 hours of epic homicide stuff. I mean, I do the real deal. So it's something that the people that went to it last time, they loved it. It's November the 21st. Because I get asked all the time, do you ever speak to the public? Yep, that's one of them, and that's where to catch me. And also, if you're a homicide detective, or I don't care where you're from, if you're a death investigator, crime scene, or anything along that line, I'm on the committee for the Homicide Investigators of Texas. And I'm an Okie, so that says a lot. Take a look at that, and if you're looking for some incredible training, we're gonna have some. It's going to be really dynamite this year. So take a look at that. And that is something that I highly recommend. And man, I can't thank everybody enough. Next week, you might know this guy, Bill. Next week, we're going to have Mark Lamb, Sheriff Mark Lamb. He's probably one of the most recognizable sheriffs out there. And he's coming on next week. And he's also an author of a book. I need to write a book. Maybe I can join the ranks of all you guys. So anyway, buddy, I can't thank you enough, seriously. And then Jay.
the week after, absolutely. And then the week after Mark, I'm not going to mention it right now, but we're going to have one of the most well-known, he's the lead detective on one of the most well-known serial killing cases in this country. And so that'll be something special as well. Ladies and gentlemen, catch us. Thank you for your patience, and thank you for just being loyal fans and sticking around for the 30-minute delay that we had. But it wasn't his fault. It's just the technology. That's the way it works.
Yeah.
And but that's what it is. Thanks a lot, Bill. I
All
appreciate
right,
it.
Jay. Thank you. We'll be in touch, Jay. We'll keep in touch.
Don't hang out until afterwards and take us out, Amanda.